Days to play at no more. Bye. I think if we're all honest with ourselves, change is something we all are kind of afraid of. It takes the fear of the unknown, the fear of messing up, and the fear of loss of stability, and combines them all into one thing. And if there's anything people who fall in love with these series hate, it's change. This is the one that ended the Metathesiophobia Saga. I don't need the script anymore. So, Battlefield Hardline. Now, with the last game, it was admittedly much more of a spin-off than an actual mainline entry. And I did talk about how that was partly due because it was a last-minute substitution on my part, because the game that was supposed to go there just couldn't get done in the amount of time I had left, which is totally my fault. Battlefield Hardline, however, is completely the opposite direction. It is a mainline game, it's a mainline entry in the series, which many contribute to the Battlefield franchise falling through and becoming a bit of the mess that it is today. And that is a bit unfortunate. So when it comes to Battlefield, I was looking into it, and it was one of the games that I have obviously been a pretty big Call of Duty fan. I've played much more Call of Duty. I've talked about 4 different games on this show. I've done playthroughs of 2 of their games, and I've even done a Battlefield playthrough on the channel before. So I'm definitely no stranger to the first-person shooter genre, but I am a stranger when it comes to platinums to the Battlefield franchise. So I figured to end out our saga, let's do something that not only is a change for the series itself, but a change for me in the meta as well. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a really good time with this game. None of the trophies are really all that difficult, with the exception of 2 that I feel like need to get shout out from me. One of them being the real life action hero, which that trophy is one of the trophies you get for playing in the later episodes. What you end up doing is that you're gonna find yourself falling out of a penthouse, and you have to kill an enemy while falling out of the penthouse. And the way I recommend you doing this is just equip a Desert Eagle, get a red dot and a laser point, and there should be a guy pretty much right in front of you as you're falling. Just light that dude up with as many shots as you can get. One of my biggest struggles I had with this is that there's basically a 3-second window for when that kind of thing happens, and because the window is so small, and there is no checkpoint, right? At least the checkpoint option gets removed from that scene. So I had thought that what I had to do is kind of go back and play the entire level again, and that part, and this trophy specific part, is at the very end of the level. It's one of the second to last things you do in the entire level, and because of that, I was getting so heated. It was becoming something that I absolutely hated, and it wasn't until I was like, you know what, fuck it, there has to be a better way of doing this. Let me look up a guide, let me see what I'm doing wrong. Well, it turns out it is a bitch of a trophy. It just is. It's one of the things that you have to be 100% on your feet, on the balls of your feet for, ready to kind of just gun down the guy in front of you. Because if you try to move to the left or right, you have a really real risk of basically just missing half your shots. What am I supposed to be doing here? Am I supposed to be doing something here? Oh, yes. Yes, I am. And it became something that easily, because it was one of the final trophies in my collection on my hunt, it was definitely something that started to sour the taste of the game for me. Now, do I hold that against the game? No, it was my stupidity. of not knowing that there was basically a checkpoint right before you run off. But it's also a dumb trophy. It's also a trophy that really doesn't require you to have any skill otherwise. So I don't hold it completely against myself. Now, one of the other trophies that I do really want to talk about, because it's absolute bullshit, is the classy exit trophy. And you're gonna get this trophy for in episode 5. You have to escape some police. Pretty much, I'm not gonna explain why because I don't want to spoil anything too story wise. But you get it for running away from the police. Now, when I was originally trying to do this, I figured kind of like other games that kind of had this kind of trophy. I'm gonna fuck this up. You can just restart a checkpoint and you'll be fine. Turns out that's not the case. Turns out you absolutely need to do it all in one kind of playthrough, which then takes that trophy, which is pretty easy and nothing to really write home about, and makes it a monster. At least when you're playing on some of the harder difficulties, like I originally was. Now I did start my playthrough by playing on a veteran playthrough. My reasoning for that is because, hey, I know my way around a first-person shooter. And plus, it's Battlefield. I've played a Battlefield game before. It shouldn't be all that hard. Well, that's where we go into the second thing that makes this game so completely different than any other Battlefield game. As a trophy hunter, this game goes from relatively simple first-person shooter to full-on stealth game. It is a game that prioritizes the roleplay of being a police officer, right? So you can get EXP, fuck you, EA. You can get EXP by making arrests and doing takedowns and being stealthy. It is not a game that prioritizes just killing, which that is very good. If you're going to do a cop style game, it's probably best that you're not just blowing everyone away. Real quick, huge shout to Eugene Bird. He's probably one of my favorite characters in this entire game. Absolutely love him. Going back to what I was saying, is that making it so that it has to be done in a one complete thing made it much more of a bitch. And being that so much of the XP and so many other things get tied to being an actually good cop, doing takedowns and doing all this, my first playthrough was incredibly more difficult and way harder in comparison to the hardest difficulty. Because instead of using the knockout sniper rifle that I had got through doing all the hard work of completing all the case files, scanning every item, doing all the stealth things, and getting to level 15 so I could use the sniper rifle, which I don't even have to get to level 15. I think it's a completion bonus for one of the cases. I'm not entirely sure, because I kind of just had it in my weapons locker at one point. I was like, oh, I'm just going to use this from now on. It ends up... My hardline playthrough ended up being way easier because I was able to just pop people with this sniper rifle. It's not something I could have done in my first playthrough, being that I had to get to level 15, which that in itself is really annoying, right? Getting to level 15 isn't hard at all, and it feels like by the end of like the 5th episode, when you're about halfway through the match, because you have to focus so heavily on being stealthy, at least I did, by halfway through the game I had already maxed out my campaign level, which to me at least was really annoying, and I ended up feeling like EA or DICE or Visceral didn't trust the fact they had a premise that they could have run all the way. I think with how many times I played through the game and how many things I did end up doing through collecting evidence and doing actual arrests, you could have probably put the level cap at 25. I think putting it at 30 would have been a bit too much and would have initiated a grind, but I think 25 could have easily gotten you the rest of the way there. and it's a little disappointing that they didn't go all the way in. Now, for trophy hunters, you do have to be a completionist, at least on the campaign side. Now, that is something, as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of. I don't really like doing it, and it kind of just feels like adding something and taking it off the list. But in this game, it does feel pretty genuine, and it was something that I really enjoyed. The other thing I enjoyed about this game is that a lot of the trophies either are collectibles, just like the myriad of things that we were talking about before, or they're basically just using different opportunities and different things and much more skill-based things, and that I'm a huge fan of. The BYOB trophy in particular for taking out the chef with the grill at the in the penthouse is a great trophy. Super easy, as long as you're using a scanner. Really easy, and nothing to kind of make you go insane. The other thing that I didn't realize that would be monumental help to you guys is you don't need to arrest your warrants. You can simply do a takedown on them. Now, why does that make a big difference? Well, because it turns it, from my experience, of a complete stealth game until you got all of your warrants arrested, until you got all of your evidence scanned, and turns it more into something you can kind of kill and you can be okay with. Once combat actually breaks out and everything becomes a giant shit show, you can just switch over to your taser for your warrant and take the guy out. It's something that I ended up doing a couple of times on my second playthrough, because I didn't realize I could do that on my first playthrough. It's one of the things that the game really doesn't tell you, and I was worried it wouldn't get counted if I tried tasering him in my first playthrough. The other thing I do want to talk about are the specific trophies. So real life action hero, we've talked about, where you have to shoot the guy out. Daredevil is a trophy that I actually really like. It's for, in the last level, it is for riding a dirt bike into the mansion. Now, I pretty much just did this one to get it out of the way, and I immediately got killed afterwards. I did it on the veteran difficulty, used the bike ramp right into the mansion. Cool, perfect. It makes a lot of noise, and that's the point of the trophy. The point of the trophy is to pretty much have everyone in the mansion get eyes on you, and basically just start a giant shootout and have this really awesome action movie moment. I got killed instantly, and that was perfect, because as soon as I got killed, it booted me back outside of the mansion. I was able to do the social status climber trophy, which the motorcycle that you find for that trophy is all the way on the right hand side. Well, the trophy for social status is all the way on the left side, and actually makes that mission way easier. Going over to the left side, you're going to find two guys in front of a weapons locker. And what these guys are doing is they're basically guarding the weapons locker, standard video gaming things. Kill them, grab a grappling hook, and you're able to grapple all the way up, basically right outside the final boss's room. Now, unfortunately, you don't actually get to fight the final boss. This isn't a game from the 90s. A quick cutscene, and he has been dispatched of. Quick and easy. And but you don't even have to go that far to pop the social status climber trophy. As soon as you get up to the second ledge of the social status climber, which I'm going to keep saying until I can't say it anymore, I'm just stuttering, you'll pop the trophy. Fairly simple, and nothing really to write home about. Now, all of these trophies for the most part are pretty simple. You just have to know what you're looking for. The Graceful Exit trophy, where you have to stealth your way throughout episode 5, isn't pretty annoying, but there's also another stealth trophy that I haven't quite discussed, and that is a Craftsman's Tools trophy. That trophy is in the Promised Land level, which, if you're playing through the Promised Land level, what you're going to want to do in that case is go on the left-hand side to get your tools. And what you have to do is the mission objective, and it's really kind of pointless, if I'm honest. The entire mission objective is it's something that on my second playthrough, as I knew where the story beats were gonna go, definitely just felt like padding, and it was something that was absolutely frustrating to me. It was like, oh, here's this thing we really don't have to do because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Let's just move on, type thing. And you can make the argument, it's like, well, you need your weapons for a siege type moment that happens later on in the game. Now I'd argue no, because they give you a weapons locker in the siege, so it's not that big of a deal. But what you want to do is go all the way to the left, and what you're gonna end up doing is stay out of sight and run pretty much into the middle right of the background. You're gonna crawl over onto this ramp and be able to just run over to the second trailer in the trailer park in the back. There's a couple of enemies there that if you're using your rock throwing ability or your bullet throwing ability, it's not that big of a deal, and you most likely get past it without any hitches. Now when you can use a checkpoint and just kind of go back, which is a lifesaver, just because of the nature of where that trophy kind of lies. It's about a quarter of the way through the mission, with a bunch of the other stuff just being problematic, to say the least. So there is that. What's another trophy I wanted to discuss? Because most of the fucking... Alright, we have to go this way. Because most of the trophies in this game don't really have anything to do with skill, with the exception of the couple that I have talked about. With the exception of the couple that I have talked about, there's none of the trophies are going to give you too much of a headache. The one that gave me the biggest headache was because I messed up, so I can't even hold that against the game. The one thing I do have any real complaints about this game, it is the fact that it just straight up doesn't make sense as a okay, okay, I was pushing L3, is that when you play this game, you're expecting a Battlefield game, and with it being a cop game, you're expecting something of a war on drugs type thing, which granted, it does stick to for about 2/5 of the game is this war on drugs type deal. But even in that, it very quickly dissolves into this cop drama of dirty cops and who can I trust and who's there, and then by the time it goes full on crazy, you're blowing up skyscraper water towers to infiltrate penthouses. And that, I will say, even though I just took a shot at it for being fucking stupid, is easily one of the coolest things in this entire damn game. And I don't even mean that ironically. It is easily one of the coolest things. I made the joke to myself that, oh, we're gonna Minecraft this. We're gonna go up a single thing of water, and we end up doing that. But it's so much cooler than I would have expected, and it's absolutely mind-blowing how they managed to do it. And how, at that point, with all the other crazy we've done in this game at that point, it's just on this side of believable. But when you take a step back and remember, it's like, oh, I'm supposed to be a cop, I'm supposed to be the law, and I'm a wanted criminal, certain things just stop making sense. And I think a large part of this game, because of the route it kind of takes, really just stopped making sense really, really quickly. And it's something that it is, if I'm honest, a shame. I wanted to just kind of be a cop. You know, you have LA Noir, which gives you this very detective heavy thing, and you even have Ace Phoenix Wright, which gives you a very court case feel, and both of them are phenomenal games. But I wanted something just to be a street level cop, nothing too fancy, nothing too whatever, just cop. And unfortunately, this game just didn't end up scratching that itch and ended up becoming 20 different things, and it's a shame. come on, just let it, yep. And there are a couple of things that, you know, with the hardline difficulty unlocking as soon as you finish a normal difficulty, a first playthrough, it is a shame that even in hardline you don't really get to skip some of the more minor things. And like, the cutscenes are great in this game, but they're also long, and when you're playing this game for a second time because of the hardline difficulty being locked behind a first playthrough, you feel it, my dude. And because I ended up playing this game, I ended up playing a couple of these missions multiple times, specifically the Mission 5 and Mission 9, because you have to play them so many times, specifically because of those two respective trophies just being right kickers in the ass. It got super frustrating that I couldn't just skip them. It also got super frustrating that the cheese it wears as just a cop drama is just so annoying at the end of the day. Now, that being said, I do need to give Battlefield another chance. You know, the only two games I've ever played in the Battlefield franchise to completion, just story-wise, have been Battlefield 1, which is a game that is very different from the Battlefield mode, and this one, which again, very different from the standard Battlefield mode. So maybe when they finally get back to it, I'll pick it up. But I've also made a resolution after Battlefront 2 to never buy a new EA game ever again. And it just so happened that I happened to have Hardline before I made a decision. Otherwise, I would not have played this game. So that kind of throws a whole monkey wrench into that plan now, doesn't it? It's tough having standards. But it wouldn't be a first-person online multiplayer EA game if there weren't multiplayer trophies. Now, fortunately, there were only 3 of them, and that is phenomenal. There are only 3 multiplayer trophies, and they're not that bad, and it's something that, honestly, you can roll with, except for one. The Boys in the Hoods trophy is an absolute nightmare of a thing. First off, you have to unlock the MAC-10 and the double-barrel shotgun. Now, both of these guns kinda suck. Not gonna lie, they kinda suck. One of them is so little damage output, you have to get 2 feet in front of the guy's face before you pull the trigger. The other one is so close range that if you even think that you're not gonna get him because of the distance, you're probably not gonna get him. Both of these guns just suck, and the fact that they come at the end of this massive multiplayer mission thing is another thing that just sucks. Honestly, if it wasn't for a buddy of mine who I have to actually open up my phone and look at his name because I want to say it right, if it wasn't for Melodic Misery with a Z, I wouldn't have gotten this trophy. It ended up just being, I got lucky one night and I started talking to him and saying how I wanted the Platinum Hardline. He asked if I had this one trophy, told him that he didn't, and he came into a match with me and ended up just committing suicide over and over and over again until I had both of the weapons needed to take care of the job. Now, there are countless guides online of how to do this trophy legitimately and how to properly unlock the double barrel shotgun and how to properly unlock the MAC-10. And I did properly unlock the MAC-10 because I did want to do this very cut and dry and very like, no, this game has not proven to be all that difficult. I'm going to do it right. But also, I'm really sorry I'm sucking my teeth. My mouth is so dry. And I do these in one take. So, I'm not smart. Beverage. Oh wow. My mouth was super dry. I didn't even realize how dry it was. I'm still So that's annoying. But the Mag 10 has this absolutely ridiculous criteria for kneeling getting done, which I found was super annoying, especially when the Mag 10 was way easier. Like, why was the Mag 10 so easy if you're gonna make the double barrel shotgun so hard? Or why was the double barrel shotgun so hard if you made the Mag 10 so easy? It was just confusing. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to get this trophy, this platinum sometime soon, is because I was worried about the servers becoming empty and basically dying. On the plus side, they're not fully dead. On the not so plus side, they're definitely fading fast. It was something that a couple of the missions took me way longer than it would have had the servers actually been healthy. And it's just the fact that I had to be aware of that, and it kind of sucked. You know, there's nothing in this game that's done outright terribly, but there are a bunch of things that are done in this game that just kind of suck. Now, if you guys have been paying attention, you've seen that I've scanned every single enemy in the game in this level. That actually gets you a trophy called the Motley Crew. It is the only trophy you can get in this mission, with the exception of completing the mission. And it's something that I thought we were going to see a lot more of. We were going to see a lot more of these mission by mission trophies, and in the end, we do not. Which was kind of confusing. It was another thing where it seemed like the game was going for, alright, every level you're going to have a mission, and you're just going to have to take care of it. Not a big deal. Many games do this. But this game, again, kind of just goes around that. And ends up not being that big of a deal. Which I did appreciate, but I wish there was just more consistency in the game. And that's kind of a weird thing to say, you know? Because the gameplay is good, but the tone shifts wildly. Everything that should make sense gets tossed on its head at least twice, kind of just for shock value, and it just ends up becoming a bit of an awkward game to play at times. And being that this game quickly becomes a stealth game instead of a first-person shooter game because of how you have to go about taking down enemies and doing the this, that, and the other, it definitely becomes a different beast altogether, which I'm alright for, just not what I was expecting. I chose this game for the Metathesiophobia. I pray to God I said that right that time. Because of the tonal shift into a cop drama, into a war on drugs machine type deal, which was something the Battlefield franchise had never taken on before. It was always actual war. It was always international war. It was never a domestic war. I didn't even realize I was going to be playing a game of a completely different genre than the rest of the Battlefield games. Not a bad thing, just not at all what I was expecting. I have absolutely no idea how they saw me. So that's the other thing. Now, I do want to show you guys the Platinum Trophy in a more up-close view, mostly because I'm done playing this game. And I'm going to give it my official rating. So thank you guys for watching, and let's jump over to that. Boom, baby! It's a 0.5 rarity, which is absolutely insane because trophy hunters have it at a 5.88 rarity as of PSN. So that's just absolutely crazy. The fact that there's such a huge disparity between the two percentages, but that's just ground you almost get with trophy hunters. We're crazy. Now, unfortunately, all you get for a design for the Platinum Trophy is the bloody cover of the game. It's absolutely frustrating and disheartening when it happens. And it's just, I don't know, I would have gone for like a badge thing with a trophy on it, or just something to show a little creativity. But it is EA, the Satan of the video game industry, with Activision close on their heels. So I understand that. So I get it. I wish I didn't, but I get it. So I do hope you guys have kind of enjoyed this Metathesiophobia saga, this whole field chain saga. I hope you guys enjoyed what I was kind of trying to do this month. If you guys have another phobia you think I should tackle next month, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if there's any games you think I should try my hand at platinuming, because I love suggestions and I'm always willing to try something out. And I do have to keep making weekly content now at this point because I've gone absolutely insane with power. But that's all here, nor there, nor anywhere. So thank you guys for watching. My name has been Insane Raven, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.